Hello, I am Harry from the Chabotcast, and this is the third of a series going through all of the costume pieces and variations for each Doctor. As always, there is room for human error, so if you found anything that I've missed, do get in touch or comment below. Today I will be going through the third Doctor, John Pertwee's costume pieces from his first series. I've had to split Pertwee's costume videos up into series because he had so many variations. So this season runs with Spearhead from Space, Doctor Who and the Silurians, the Ambassadors of Death, and finally Inferno. So I'm going to start by saying there is a relatively good replica of the costume available from Hello Cosplay. It's what I'd call medium expensive, so it's not too bad compared to some of the prices, but it's going to put you out of pocket a bit. It's relatively accurate, but there are quite a few things off, but would definitely do as a cosplay for this Doctor and from this season. Now, so firstly we're going to start with an in-depth look through the jacket. This is a midnight blue velvet smoking jacket with a shawl collar. With a shawl collar. Lapel, that's it, sorry. It has a single frog fastening and straight pockets. It also features the pattern of the frog fastening on the cuff, as can be seen here. He wore this in every story from his first episode. It has a red lining, as can be seen here, but it appears there are no inside pockets, which was a rarity. Jackets like these are available on eBay if you type in men's smoking jacket or women's smoking jacket, depending on. But ones of similar styles are available with the singular frog fastening, like the one here in the bottom centre. Here is one that is almost perfect that I've found on eBay. If you just type in what it says here, you will find it. They measure specifically, so it will be tailor-made to an extent, and is relatively inexpensive compared to what tailor-made items cost usually. Here is a specific replica of the one from season 8, the maroon smoking jacket with two fastenings, but it is customizable, as are most Baron Boutique items, so you can get it in the midnight blue and ask for a single frog fastening, as they are very accommodating. You can also ask them to change up the patterning on the cuff. Just remember to get it with a red silk lining. Now we move on to the Inverness cape. Like with the jacket, he only wore one cape for this season. It was black cotton with black wool with a velvet collar and 5 silk covered buttons, although the top button is never done up, as this is tradition with Inverness capes. It has a red silk lining, but that does not extend onto the lapels of the cape, as seen in later series. Is just a black inside of the lapels on this season's cape. Here are some closer pictures. It has no arms, but that is fairly obvious, and is tradition with most Inverness cape. It does have pockets either side, and there are replicas available of this, but the best one is one that I've found on Etsy by the seller Shelby and Gray, where you can get it customizable size and colour. This is very expensive though, so if you want to go for a slightly cheaper option, then I recommend the Hello Cosplay one that I showed at the beginning, as I'm pretty certain that you can buy just the cape for that one. Then now we move on to the more tricky part of this season's costume, the ruffle. Now, from an outside perspective, it seems like they are all the same ruffle for each story, but there is a few minor variations which, if you look closely enough, you will see. So the first set of pictures we have here is from the promotional shoot for Spearhead from Space. This is probably the clearest look that we'll get at any of Pertwee's ruffle shirts, but it only appeared in the location footage at the warehouse outside in the fight with the Autons, and that's its only on-screen appearance in this full version. You can see that the shirt is textured and embroidered with a flower pattern and a hexagonal pattern, and then the ruffle is made of a fabric I believe to be called broderie anglaise, which is English broderie, I think, translated roughly. Now, what I have noticed with these ruffle shirts from the first season is that basically in the 60s and 70s you used to be able to get ruffle sets where you would get the ruffle, and most times you would get the cuffs, the ruffle cuffs, and you get them in a set which you could then attach to any normal dress shirt, although a lot of the time you get a specific shirt for these types of ruffles, and that's what has happened here. They've got the shirt and then they've got the ruffle set with the cuffs and the ruffle. So there is close up pictures of the ruffle. Here is another close up picture of the pattern on the collar, and here is a relatively good quality image from that photo shoot as well. Now we have the Spearhead from Space costume that appeared for most of the actual story. So it is featuring the same ruffle, but just with a different shirt. This shirt, as becomes clear in later stories, actually has the cuffs attached to it. So it is just because they are a different pattern. So it's the shirt with these cuffs that are attached to the shirt, but with the ruffle from the promotional shoot. This can be seen here, and you can tell that the cuffs are different because of the outline, and there is a closer image which you will see later on. Here is just some pictures. There is one signifier of this new shirt which becomes clear later on. It has a different type of pattern on the collar. This is more of a sort of leaf sunrise is the best I can describe it, where it's 5 leaves displayed in a semicircle, and that is lined along the collar. Here is a better image of it. There is an image of the cuff, and here is probably the best image of the cuff that is available, which is from a clip in Spearhead from Space where he reveals his TARDIS tracking watch. Now, we have the second costume from Spearhead from Space, which is in fact the costume that is seen in the promotional shoot. You can tell this because in the middle here, you can see just to the left of the ruffle is the holes and flower pattern that feature on that shirt. And you can see from this picture, which is of the same shirt, yes, actually I forgot, it does appear in this scene as well. You can tell by the different cuffs attached to it, which will come in a later slide, but here you get a good look at where the actual ruffle cuts off, so you get a size relation image. And then here is a picture of the cuffs of this one, and you can tell it's slightly different because this has a sort of hexagonal dotted hole pattern in the cuff, whereas the other one, which is attached to the shirt, only has a different pattern of holes. You can also tell this is the one which is attached because you can see the indents in the fabric where the cuff is attached to the collar. Now, here we have the pictures from the promotional shoot and the actual story, Doctor and the Silurians. In this one, you can see it is just the same as the attire that was adorned in the main part of Spearhead from Space. You just get some better pictures of the ruffle. You can tell this by the same collar and the same pattern on the ruffle as in previous photos. You can also tell by the cuff pattern is the same here. Here is another good quality close-up image of the cuff pattern, which proves that it is the same shirt. There is a picture of the ruffle, which proves that it is the same ruffle as well used in Spearhead from Space. Now here we have a picture of Ambassadors of Death and the mid-season promo shoot. Now this is where things slightly change up. The shirt is the same, but a new centre ruffle is donned. Not too different, but you can see there is slight changes in that the centre parting between the ruffle is a lot thinner than on the previous one, as can be seen clearly here. So it's the same design, but with a lot smaller parting, so it's a very small change, but it was notable enough that I thought I should include it in this. In the Inferno, he wears the exact same as he does in the Ambassadors of Death. So basically for the whole of this season, the main shirt stays the same except for that promo shoot one from Spearhead from Space, which appears a few times, but predominantly it is the one with the leaf sunrise on the collar and the pattern that you can see clearly on the cuffs. And that shirt remains constant through the 4 episodes, and then in the first 2 episodes he wears the ruffle from the promo shoot from Spearhead from Space, and in the second 2 he wears the different one. In this picture on the right, you can just see at the bottom there is 2 buttons, one on either side of the collar, which are showing that that's where the ruffle would be attached onto the 2 halves, so this shirt was specifically made for a ruffle. Here is an example of similar style ruffles that you can get on eBay, but getting the exact same one will be probably very difficult. But however, you can get broderie on glaze fairly easily, so it would be relatively easy to make your own if you're good at sewing and you fancy doing some embroidery on the shirt. Now we move on to an easier part of this research video, the necktie. It is simply a black silk necktie. It would be easy just to get some ribbon, black silk ribbon, and tie it in the same way, but if you feel like you want an actual necktie / cravat, then they are easily available on eBay. There's pictures here from each story, just so you can see how it was tied in each one. Here's just some examples of the ones that you can get. Now we move on to the trousers and shoes. I didn't include, this is the picture I included for the trousers because, as you can see, they are just a plain pair of black suit trousers, so relatively easy to source. Now we move on to the shoes. Probably the best glance you can see at these shoes is in Spearhead from Space, in the first scene with the Doctor in. So you can see here that they are slip-on shoes, ankle boots I would add, because they have quite a high back and sides. Here is some similar items that I found, but not knowing the name of these specific type of boots, I just had to see what I could find. These are relatively close, but they're not perfect. But if you just type in ankle boots on eBay or Etsy and look, I'm sure you could find something fairly similar. Now, here we have some other oddballs to the costume. Firstly, we have the gloves. We tended to wear leather driving gloves throughout the season quite often. Gloves in this style with 3 lines on the back of the hand are relatively easy to source on Etsy or eBay. And now we have the braces, which are only really seen properly in Inferno. They appear to be grey or brown in colour, and they are button-on braces with quite a sizable buckle. similar braces can be found more easily on Etsy than eBay, as they are a vintage item, but I'm sure you could find on either a similar enough pair. And then lastly, now we have the fedora, which he donned only in his first story, Spearhead from Space, which is a shame, as I think this goes rather well with the look. Fedoras are easily available on eBay or Etsy or any store similar, such as Depop or whatever. And lastly, I'm pretty certain we have the handkerchief, which is just a plain white handkerchief, which is available from pretty much anywhere relatively cheaply. So that was the comprehensive Season 7 costume by me, Harry, from the Chabot cast. So I'd like to give a quick thanks to the Facebook group Doctor Who Photo Research for use of their high quality photos, which have been very helpful for my research. If you have any questions or anything, comment down below or contact me on chabotcast@gmail.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. I shall be doing more videos covering the history of the classic Doctor's costumes. So until the next time, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Cheers.